Hi everybody. Okay, so I'm gonna do my first Flosstube number 1. I am on Instagram. What is my handle? I don't know. Cross Stitch Addict 1995. I think that's what I'm named on Instagram. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm new-ish to the Flosstube community. I have been stitching for quite a bit, but I haven't, done anything on Instagram until this year. I think I've only been on there for like a month or two. And then I don't usually do videos. I've done videos on a different channel before, but it wasn't my favorite channel to do stuff on, and this is like more my life than anything else. So I figured today would just be a talk to you guys, more like, I was gonna do the stitching style tag. I know it's been done and it's kind of past that, but I just needed like a way to get into it, and then I'm gonna work on a piece while I'm doing this, so it's gonna be like a stitch with me do the tag kind of. Oh, that's awkward, let's not do that. Stitch with me kind of like do the stitching style tag. So I will be looking down at the questions on occasion, and I'll probably be like doing this. I'll be stitching while I am answering the questions. So it might be a little awkward, but we're gonna do it anyway. So yeah, so the first question is, what is your favorite fabric? So I've always stitched on, Aida. I always called it Aida. I've always stitched on Aida when I was younger, because it was just easier, and I was so scared to move on to linen until this year, when I decided to do the Celtic Ladies lavender and lace. So I picked up this Zweigart linen. It's 28 count summer khaki linen from Zweigart, and this is my lady. I'll show you guys at the end of the video. But I picked this up, I started stitching on it, and I love linen. Okay, so I know a lot of people like really don't like linen, but I absolutely love it. I think this is so much fun to stitch on. I went right from Aida to even weave, to linen, and I skipped even weave. I do have some even weave in my closet. I have all of my fabrics like in my closet with all my clothes, because that's the best way to keep them. I think it's like hanging up and there's no like folds or anything, and they're in a dark like closet, so they're not going to get washed out by the sun or anything. This is the answer to one of the questions, by the way. Yes, we'll get there. We will get there. Anyways, yeah, so I really like linen. I'm not sure what count, like 28 count is the only count that I've worked on so far, but I really like it so far. Like, definitely much more than Aida. I like how soft it is. It's a lot more like pliable than Aida is, so that's where I'm at right now. Okay, second question. Do you use a hoop or a frame? Here's your answer. I use a hoop. I have this little tiny hoop I mostly like because I can't find any more of these. I want a bigger version of this. I like it because it is the like spring-loaded version, but the other spring-loaded versions I have, like, they don't hold the fabric in. Every time I put it on, if I like even touch it, this like springs off, and it's no good. So I use this one for this piece until I start beading. So I started beading the other day because I couldn't help myself. But I will have to figure out what I'm going to do for beading, because this is too small and it's going to like crush my beads, and I'd rather not, you know, break all the beads I have, because I can't afford to, you know, buy more beads. We're moving this week. We're actually hopefully closing on a house tomorrow, so this background will totally change. But we're closing on a house hopefully tomorrow, and then we'll move in this weekend if all goes well. We've had to push the closing time back for tomorrow. They emailed me today and said something happened with the appraisal or something like that, and so they're moving the time back. I was supposed to close at 10 o'clock tomorrow, but that is no longer happening. So hopefully tomorrow at some point we will be closing. So yeah, hoops are my favorite. I've never actually used a frame before. I kind of don't want to. I don't use... Is that one of the questions? Oh yeah, I don't. Next, question 3 is, do you use a stand or just hold your frame? I don't use a stand. I wish I could stitch in hand, like without the hoop, but I'm not good at that. I've tried, and it's terrible. I'm scared I'm gonna like bunch the fabric up and it's just not gonna be good. But I can't deal with a stand. Plus my hoops are so small. Like I think this hoop is like the biggest hoop that I own. So I work on my huge, if you go on my Instagram, you'll see the huge piece that I'm working on, and I literally use this hoop for it. It's really tiny. Well, what are you doing? Hello? Look, can you see look at the camera? Okay. I love it too. Okay. Go. Okay, question, what are we on, 4? What is your favorite time to stitch? All the time. If I didn't have to work, I would love to do this as like a full-time job. The only time I don't do it is like weekday mornings, because I don't have time. I pretty much wake up and have to do everything and then go to work. So the only time I don't stitch is usually weekday mornings, and then the most usual time for me to stitch is in the evenings after work, like 5 o'clock. But yeah, working a 9-to-5 job, you don't have much time. I do stitch at lunchtime most of the time, unless something crazy is happening, like the other day. Was it yesterday? Yesterday we had like an employee appreciation thing, so we went to a luncheon, and I did not stitch at lunch because I was, you know, joining all of my friends at lunch. Okay, do you use a printed paper copy of your chart or digital? I cannot do digital. Cannot. I can't. I've always liked paper. I mean, even for other things, like I'm an English major. I just graduated last year, almost a whole year ago now. And I've always been a paper person, like handwriting things. Being an English major, we had to write a whole lot of like, you know, papers and things like that. I am a creative writer. That's what I concentrated in. And I always used to write my story in my journal before I actually typed it. Because I love you too, but you can't always be over here. Can you sit down? Can you sit? Lay down. So I like to use paper. I'm using paper now. Even if I get a PDF or something, I will print it out. And, like for my large piece, I think it's 25 pages, and I printed that out and put it in a binder. Maybe one day I'll go through, like, how I get myself ready to do a large piece, which actually only started this year. Like, before when I did large pieces, I was all over the place, and I kept it in a bag. Like, I have this, like, drawstring bag that I kept my first piece in for forever. Actually, it's still in there. It's not finished. It's close to finished. I don't know if I'm ever gonna finish it. Like, I really don't like it. Which is sad, because they don't make it anymore. It's an MGC Textiles, or MCG Textiles, whatever, piece that's not in print anymore, and It was expensive, and I'm probably not gonna finish it, because I just don't like it. I did so many things wrong that I wish I could go back and fix, but I can't. Okay. Here's the question I answered earlier. Are you a floss licker? Yes. Yes, I am, and I will never change that. I'm just going to do it forever. Sorry about the lighting, also, like, I have a lamp up here to help me see, so it's kind of weird, but whatever, we don't care. Yes, I lick my floss, and I don't care. Do you hoard or buy supplies as needed? Well, okay, so I want to say I usually buy supplies as needed. This year, or this past couple of months, I got a little crazy, and I bought a bunch of new patterns, and I have a whole bunch of floss. Now, I didn't buy most of my floss. My almost mother-in-law does not stitch anymore, and she gave me, like, all of her floss. So I have so much freaking floss. It's all DMC, but I have so much of it that I really don't ever need to go out and get any more, but I do. I usually get, even if I already have the floss, I'll go get more for whatever project. Like for this project, I went and got a whole bunch of colors that I already had just because I'm scared of running out. Like, I don't know how much is on one of the bobbins. Like, she bobbinated all of her flosses, and I don't know how much is on, like, one. It's not a whole, sometimes it's not a whole skein, sometimes it is a whole skein, or it's like 2 skeins, but I don't know. I can't tell from the actual looking at it. And she uses paper bobbins, little, like the cardboard ones. I hate them. I use like the plastic ones. They're so much better. But she gave me a whole bunch, but I'm scared to use them other than in full coverage pieces. Full coverage pieces, I'm less worried to use them because, like, if it's a little off, you're not going to notice as much. But, like, for, like, this, like, the Celtic Ladies or something, you're definitely going to notice. You'll be able to tell, like, this color is a little bit different than this color, and they're supposed to be the same color, or whatever. Like, I don't want to do that. Especially if it was, like, in her skirt, because then it would be really noticeable. Because colors vary. Okay. So yeah, so I'm kind of both. I have, like, kind of hoarded a few things, but I feel like in the end I'm going to use them. I just need to find a project to use with them, if that makes sense. What is your favorite floss? I've only ever used DMC, so I'm going to say DMC. If we're talking, like, metallic, I hate Krennic. I hate blending filament. I hate all of that. I actually don't mind PBT, or Petite Treasure Braid. PTB? I don't mind Petite Treasure Braid. I actually like it. I haven't had too many problems with it, but I use a really short length so that it doesn't ravel up and, like, get hard to use or whatever, and it doesn't knot. That's the word I'm looking for. Knot up. I'm gonna mark off my chart here so I know what I've done. Okay. Also, yes, I'm sitting on the floor because I have boxes all over the place, and there's not really anywhere to sit right now because of moving. So this is where we're at, on the floor. I actually find it very comfortable to sit on the floor. It's good for your back, and I have not a good back, so I'm getting a new stitching chair when we move. I'm very excited about it. We're gonna go to the sale section at somewhere. We'll figure it out. We're gonna get me a new chair. I'm really excited about it. Also, I get a sunroom to stitch in. Like, that's my room. Bill, my fiance, gets the, like, there's this little cozy. I'm so excited. I'm gonna take you around. Don't worry, you'll get a tour of the new house. But there's, like, I have a galley kitchen, and then behind the kitchen is like this little, they call it a cozy. It's got like the fireplace and everything, and it's really dark. It's like a den, and that's where he's gonna have like his man cave. So he gets to be in there with his video games, and I'm gonna have the sunroom. I don't necessarily, it's a sunroom. It's like a sunroom, but I was lucky growing up, and I had a sunroom that was all glass. This room is just like, it's a normal room, but it's got windows pretty much covering the whole, all the walls. So it's not a sunroom like how I'm used to calling what I'm used to calling a sunroom, but it is a sunroom. So I'm really excited to have that room as like my stitching spot. So much natural light, I love it. Okay. Number 9. Are you a serial starter or do you have a whip at a time? So okay. This is like not a longer story. All my stories are long. We're already like almost 16 minutes in, and I'm only on number 9, and there's like 20 to go. Okay. We're good. Okay. Are you a serial starter? So, I'm not a serial starter, but I don't have one whip at a time. I used to only do one thing at a time. Because I was like, you're not allowed to have more than one thing. You've got to finish it before you start a new one. Like, I thought that was the way that you did this. I did not know any better. Now I do. Because you all are enablers. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Every single one of you. So now I have 2 whips. Which is not a lot. Like, that's less than I feel like most people have, and I'm not doing Mania because I'm not ready for that jazz. I'm not ready for all that. I don't have enough money for that anyway. Like, we just bought a house. I don't have enough money for Mania. Not happening. I don't have enough fabric for 15 starts. I mean, I might if I did smalls, but I don't want to really cut up my fabric that much. Because I have a fabric that I got from this woman on Instagram, Joanna. She was selling all these linens. She was like, I hate them, I can't do it. So I bought all these linens, and one of them is so big. I mean, I'm gonna have to cut it because I can't, like, there's nothing that big. I'm not doing something that big. There's no way. And I don't know the counts. Like, I think there's one that has a sticker for what count it is. I think they're probably all, like, 32 count. They all look about 32 count, so we'll see. But anyways, 3, 3, 4, 7. But anyways, so I am not a serial starter, but I don't have one whip at a time. I have 2. Okay, so do you have more FFOs or UFOs? I have more UFOs. Oh, wait, no. Well, right now, yeah, I have more UFOs. I actually only have, like, 1. No, it's not even an FFO. It's a FO. I don't have any FFOs. I have 0 FFOs. I have 1 FO. I've been stitching for a long time. Well, okay, stitching for a long time doesn't really count. Because I have 2 FOs. If I count like this little tiny rose that I made when I was really young, and then I stopped stitching for so long, and then I started again and I made my grandmother this, like, best friends, so cute, I don't remember what it was like best friends teddy bears. I bought it at Michael's or Joann's Fabrics or something. But I stitched her that, and that kind of got me back into it. So I've been stitching since I was young, but not really. Like, not, like, I stitch every day! I do it every day! I'm so good at it! Like, I'm not. I don't. I've been stitching since I was a kid, but not regularly. So yeah, so I have more. I have 2 FOs. Yeah, 2 FOs, and then 2 UFOs, and then 2 whips right now. So they're all equal. I like equality, and it's equal. Everything is equal. hopefully I'll have at least one FFO at some point. This is going by really fast, so hopefully I'll get her FFO'd. I just don't know how I'm going to pay for a frame, so we'll see. Because I want to frame her. I don't want to, like, try to screw up framing myself. So I would like to get her framed, so we'll see. I'm going to try to find, like, a place that'll do it for not too expensive. Just because I don't have the money right now to do that. Okay, what are we on? Do you watch TV while stitching? I don't watch TV. I watch Flosstube, pretty much like everybody else. I also have this one beauty guru that I watch constantly. Like, I love her, and I watch every single one of her videos. Like, she uploads every freaking day. How? I mean, it's her job, but how? I don't understand. Like, I don't have time for that. I mean, if you're not, like, if that's your job, like, you're gonna have time for it, but that's a lot of work. And the beauty gurus on YouTube do a lot more editing than I feel like anybody else. Like, I'm pretty much not editing this. This is just the way it's gonna be. I might add an intro. Like a little name across here. But that's about it. And there's gonna be no music. But they do so much. And she uploads every day, and I don't understand it. I don't get it. But, oh, I forgot to do whatever. Hopefully I'll have enough floss to be able to get there. I'm talking so much I forgot to do a stitch. Whatever. I'll get there. Okay, so what was the question? Oh yeah, so I watch her, and if anybody wants to know her name, it's Tati Westbrook. She goes by, what is she? I don't remember what her handle is on YouTube, because I just know her name. I just always call her Tati. I'll leave her link below if I can figure out how to do that. Okay, question 12. Do you mostly stitch alone, or do you ever get together with someone to stitch? I stitch alone. I am a part of the, like, meetup. There's a, like, website, meetup.com or something, and I am a part of a bunch of, like, stitching groups on there, but I joined those groups, I want to say a couple of weeks ago, and ever since, like, I joined them, and then right as soon as I joined those groups, pretty much, we started this process with this house, so I have had no time. Like, they meet on, like, the second Saturday and the fourth Saturday of every month or something, and I haven't had any of those Saturdays free, so I haven't been able to stitch with them. I'd love to be able to do it. It's quite far away from my house where I'm going to be moving to, so it's a good thing it's only, like, every so often, but I would love to be able to join them at some point. So we'll see. Hopefully I'll be able to. Okay. Do you like to experiment and alter things with your charts, or do you just stitch them as written? Or do you stitch them just as written? Blah, blah, blah. English major. Depends. It depends. Full coverage pieces, no, I stitch them exactly as charted. I could not fathom trying to switch anything when there are, like, over any substantial amount of floss. No. But I did change her. So, depends on the chart or the design. Like, with her, I did not like the original colors for summer. I thought they were kind of more springy than summery, so I changed her colors. I used a conversion I found on the Lavender and Lace blog or whatever. So I did change her colors to the colors that I liked, because there was a bunch of different conversions that you could use, and I just decided to use this one because I liked it. And it reminds me more of summer, like green and yellow, and I mean, I guess it's spring too, but like once you see the spring one with this one will look more like summer than spring, I think. So both. Both is the answer to that question. Okay. Do you bobbinate, floss, or not? Well, seeing as I got most of my floss from my almost mother-in-law, and it was already bobbinated, I bobbinate my floss, but even when I go to the store and, like, pick up floss, I bobbinate that as well. I know people, like, have a problem with the creasing that happens when they bobbinate floss. I don't care, because you're stitching it, and once it goes into the fabric, you can't see that crease anymore. So I don't really understand why people freak out so much. I don't mind it, and I think that is what is so great about cross-stitching, because you can do pretty much whatever you want, because it doesn't matter. It's your own design. Well, not your design, but like, you make the design your own. And that's awesome. That's why I like makeup videos too, because, you know, you can do pretty much whatever you want. Nothing's wrong. You can't be wrong. It's all art. And you can't art wrong. You just can't. Okay. Okay, so do you start a project in the middle of your fabric or at the corner? I feel like I keep on talking, like, all of my answers to these questions are both. So with my full coverage pieces, I start in the corner because I do grid my fabric for full coverage pieces. I use a grid, like, I use pencil usually for my grid, and I only grid full coverage pieces because I don't usually wash my full coverage pieces. I'll iron them, but I won't wash them just because I'm gonna frame and mat and frame them right up to the actual piece, so you won't be able to see the fabric. Anyway, so I'm like, why do you need to, like, I don't care, I don't need to wash it. So I'll still just leave all the grid lines on the actual fabric part and not really worry about it. So that way, so I could start on the corner. I don't have to start in the middle. And plus, I would never be able to find the middle with all those pages. It's just not possible. For my non-full coverage pieces, I don't grid, so I start in the middle. Yeah, so I started this lady in the middle. And it pretty much is it's pretty much the middle. It's not completely the middle, because, like, I can definitely tell that this side is shorter than this side, but not enough where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be able to frame this, because it's still 3 inches. Like, once I'm done this side, it's still gonna be 3 inches. It might be like 3 and a little bit on this side, but whatever. Too laid back for this. This is why I'm a cross stitcher. Okay. What even question are we on? 16. Okay, do you have a whip rotation? So, I just came up with my whip rotation because I was doing my full coverage piece alone for quite some time. Like, if you go into my Instagram, I don't have very many pictures because I just started my Instagram. But I was doing my my full coverage piece pretty much, like, monogamously, and I didn't, because I thought, like, this is how you're supposed to do it. But I was getting a little bit bored, as we do, of doing that all just every day, and it was a lot of brown at the time, because it was, like, the wall, and I wasn't really doing anything else. And I was getting bored of doing brown constantly. So after like page 3, I think I'm on page 5 now, but after like page 3, I was like, I need to start something else. So that was right after I had been to my local, my LNS, and I picked up all of the Celtic ladies in one fell swoop. I just picked them all up because I was like, they're all here. I can just get them all. Every single one of them. I didn't get Celtic Christmas. I got that one later, but I did pick up all the other ones. And so I really wanted to start them, so I was like, now I have an excuse to start the Celtic lady because I'm getting bored. So yeah, so I have a whip rotation for these 2 things, and I do one each week. So like this week, I do her, and then next week I'll do my full coverage piece. And I start that week on Saturday, because that was the day I started her. So I figure, okay, I'll start her not this Saturday, but the Saturday that I started her, and then the next Saturday I was like, okay, I've had her for a week. Let's move back into the full coverage. So that's what I did. Okay, now what? Do you use a timekeeper to keep track of how long it takes you to complete a project? So I didn't used to. For the first couple of months that I was working on my full coverage piece, I didn't even think about it. I didn't think that was something that people did. I kind of wanted to, like, I kept track of when I started, like the date I started, and then I kept track of the dates that I finished a page. So I'll have, in the end, I think like 23 to 25 like dates of page starts, or page finishes, or whatever I have. So for the full coverage piece, I'm not like keeping track of the exact like hour by or minute by minute time. I'm just keeping track of like how long it takes me between page finishes. But for this gal, I am keeping track of how long she takes me. So I have a timekeeper on my phone that I use, and it runs, and I just have to remember to clock out. And sometimes I don't remember to clock out, so I just like, or clock in. Sometimes I don't even remember to clock in. So I usually just have to like guesstimate when I started. So I go back, this is like the way I do it. I go back to my text messages and I see like, okay, so I remember sending this right before I started, or whatever, and I'll take that time, or, you know, I'll just be like, oh, it probably took me about 5 minutes to do this much, whatever. So that's like a guesstimation, but it's pretty much minute by minute. I've gotten a lot better at remembering to turn it on and off than when I first started using it, because I was like, I can't remember to do this. Okay, so 18, do you use the parking technique? I only do that on my full coverage pieces. So if you go into my Instagram, you'll see pictures of my full coverage piece, and that one I do have parked threads. This one I have never used park threads. I don't park threads on these ones because counting is super easy on these, I think. As long as, like, for these, like, side motifs, I do one motif at a time. And then the same thing's going to be like for the summer motif, and then the ones along the other side. I'm going to just do one motif at a time, so counting's super easy. But for my full coverage, I'm not going to try to cross-country at all. Not cross-countrying ever. Okay. Do you keep your orts? No, I do not. They are all in my garbage can right now. I think it's silly. I know people use them to fill things, but I don't make ornaments. I do not like smalls like that. I just don't like them. They're not for me at all, so I don't keep them because I don't have any use for them. Do you like to have a snack or drink while stitching? I like to have a drink. Usually it's water. I don't really drink anything else but water. Sometimes I'll have like an orange juice, but water is the easiest because if it spills on anything, it's fine. It's just water. So usually water, I do not eat while I stitch. Candies on occasion. I'll have like a candy. Like I have candy canes over here that I munch on occasion, but they're like the mini candy canes, so I can break them and just stick one in my mouth and put the like other broken bit over beside me. But yeah, no other food. I don't like food near my stitching. It's too sacred. I don't want to ruin it. Cool. I think that's everything. So while we're here, I'll just show you my progress on this gal. I'm gonna take my hoop off because I don't have anything. I have no strings. So it's really, there's a lot of crinkles in here because I hold it, and so, sorry. And then I just took the hoop off, so of course it's gonna have a hoop mark. But this is where I am with her. Oh, this is gonna be really hard. You're not gonna be able to see anything. This is where I am with her. I've really enjoyed doing her. She's like probably why I really like linen, because I think she's gorgeous, and I'm going to hang her up in my new house once she's done. I liked the skin. The skin was really, really fun. I've never done 1/1 because I've never worked on linen, so I've always just worked on Ida, and I've never been able to do such tiny stitches, and I think they're so cute. I mean, so freaking adorable. I love her. So that is her, and then yeah, I did start the little beading situation right here, but I didn't do any more than that because I don't know how I'm gonna do them with a hoop. That might be the only reason I need to get like a frame, which I'm not looking forward to, but whatever. I'm gonna do all the rest of the stitching, like all the regular floss. I'm gonna finish the metallics, and then I'll figure out how I'm gonna do the beading, just because I don't want to have to deal with that right now. I thought it was fun, because this is the first time I've ever beaded, so I thought it was fun. I wanted to give it a try and see if I could even do it. Turns out I can, but I just gotta figure out how I'm gonna figure it out. Like, if I need to get a bigger hoop or what. Because I could just, like, use this hoop. I'll have to figure it out. Anyways, that's her. I'm not going to show you the other one. You can see it in pictures. Next week, if I do a video, I'll show you the other one, because I'll be working on that one. That one's a much slower progress than this one. So, anyways, I'll let you all go. I hope this was an okay first video. My updates might be weekly. I'm not really sure yet. I'm gonna upload next week just because I would like to show you my full coverage piece. But because I'm not like a serial starter and I don't have, you know, the 15 whips going at a time, it could get real boring real fast. So I might only do it like once a month and then show you both. And then once I finish her, like I might start the new, whatever. I don't know how I'm gonna do it yet, but we'll figure it out. Yeah. I think that's everything. So, I hope you enjoyed. I don't really know how to end these things. I hope you enjoyed. Follow me on Instagram. I'm mostly pretty active on Instagram. Probably going to be more active than I am on YouTube, but I'm going to try. Yeah, I mean, that's about it. That's all I got. So I will see you all in my next one. Have a good one.